Yeah, I think you'll find that the organization, and I have written a letter to Life magazine, I think the article, in a sense, is unfortunate, and it's not indicative of the kind of hospital care treatment that the veteran receives across the country, generally speaking. We know that there are problems in VA hospitals across the country because of a lack of funding. There's been a lack of staffing. Now, I think also that this article may help tend to wake up the Congress, because I gave testimony before Senator Cranston's subcommittee in December of 1969, where we pointed out our documented evidence, various problems in VA hospitals across the country, seeking a more funding for the hospital care program.
Well, I think we'll see more open abortions performed. Of course, I imagine maybe the majority of doctors will still be somewhat inhibited from either openly performing abortions or perhaps even performing abortions at all, since there still remains the question of what will the United States Supreme Court do.
Since there was no injunction against a woman being prosecuted, will doctors be liable to arrest now?
I believe the district attorney has been quoted as saying that he would probably still enforce the statute.
With this ruling, will doctors become, do you think, more open about performing abortions?
Yes, I believe so. I believe the decision will, to a great extent, more or less legitimize their activities.
Well, in Tarrant County, we have 711,386 people, according to this census. Divide that by 2, and you come out with this figure right here, 355,693, which means that we can have 2 districts in Tarrant County within 1,297 of the average, which means we don't have to beg, borrow, or steal from anybody. We will have 2 entire senatorial districts and be within 1/2 of 1% of the norm for the entire state. You can't come any closer than that by design. This is by accident.
Well, now, prior to your Amarillo no-hitter, which was thrown May 9, you say you threw a one-hitter.
Yes, against Amarillo. That was the first batter got a base hit. It was off my glove. It could have been an error. They could have rung it up as an error, but that was the only hit they got, the first batter, the first pitch of the game, in fact.
Well, you know, a one-hitter, then a no-hitter, then a couple of games later an almost no-hitter, and then again, you must be feeling pretty good about your future in baseball.
Well, I hope to think so, but you never can tell in this game. A break here, a break there, a sore arm or something like that. It's hard to say, but actually I'm feeling pretty good. This is only my second full year of pitching, and I feel pretty good about the way things are going.
When will the Baltimore front office learn about your performances? Do they know about last night's already?
I suppose they did. Our manager, Joe Altobelli, makes a game report after every game, and usually he calls up, but not always. But I think in this case, they know about it already.
Saturday is National Think Day. Now, this may not be one of your favorite holidays, one that you get off work to celebrate, but I think you'll hear a little more about it between now and Saturday. And we're in Think, Texas today, not only to find out how it got started, but what's planned. Now, incidentally, Think, Texas is in Texas, and don't look for it on your map because you're not going to find it. We found it after a couple of days of looking, and we have found an honorary Fink because there is no longer a Mayor Fink. We have instead a Mayor, Pat Albright, and her deputy mayor, which she tells me is really her crutch, Miss Lucy Clement. Mayor Albright, what's planned for National Fink Day on Saturday?
Well, we're going to have the golf tournament on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and free refreshments on Saturday.
Now, I know Fink, Texas isn't big enough to have a golf course. Where are they going to play?
Up at Tanglewood.
Which is how far from here?
About 2 miles.
Now, the tournament is very close to getting underway. How many entries do you have?
Well, I think right now there's about 135.
Now, they're not all Finks, are they?
No. We have several, though.
I thought maybe you had to be a Fink to play in this tournament.
Oh, no.
How many Finks will be coming in this weekend?
Oh, right now I'm not sure, but I would say about 12.
Ms. Clement, I understand you're the whiz on Fink history. How did Fink, Texas get started, and how did we get to this point?
Well, it's been Fink, Texas for many years. In fact, the book here was published in 1908, and there was Fink, Texas at that time.
Let's take a look at the book, if we can get Mal to take a picture of this. We don't get too much light on it. This was printed in 1908, you say, and
right.
It's a plat book of Grayson County, Texas, and includes Fink, the location where we're now standing. Now, I'm sure there was at one time more than a general store to Fink, Texas. What is its history?
Yes, there was 2 grocery stores, and there was a blacksmith shop, and a cotton gin, and also a post office years ago.
Now, Mayor, what happened to all those thriving businesses?
Well, they were gone before my time.
Now, you took over the store when?
4 years ago.
There is no longer an incorporated town of Fink, is there?
No, sir.
There's just the store.
It's the store.
So it's kind of an honorary spot on the nobody's map.
Yes, it is.
Very good. We hope National Fink Day turns out to be a success, and we'll visit with you again at that time. So there you have it, National Fink Day. It's this Saturday right here in Fink, Texas. Oh, by the way, since it isn't on the map, you may have a little difficulty in finding it. It's 3 miles northwest of Pottsboro. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the move, really in Fink, Texas.
It reflects a service in other areas and to a certain degree the care of the patient. No patient is neglected, no patient is refused treatment that needs it, but it is not easy to take care of 40 or 50 patients or sometimes 60 patients with one registered nurse on duty at night. By that I am inferring that they are not neglected, but they are not given what we would consider to be adequate professional nursing care.
Getting back to the same old bugaboo of budget, how is this going to affect, if it will, your staff over the next fiscal year?
Well, if we do not get extra money, we will be forced to decrease our staff by 5 people each quarter.
Many people
in the past years has posed quite a problem to us here at the Dallas D.A. hospital, because we always start off the year without sufficient money to run us at the level we anticipated we would. Last year we were several $100,000 short. This year, if we carry on our activities at the same rate during fiscal year 71 as we have done in 70, we will be $378,000 short.
Most citizens in Dallas will recall that many such meetings have been held by the City of Dallas and by the school board and other governmental bodies in the county. To my knowledge, this is the only meeting ever held by the county since the state law was held that has ever been questioned in any way by anyone. I think it's quite a coincidence that the county was singled out by KERA-TV people, evidently with the consent of management of KERA-TV, including the board chairman, Mr. Ralph Rogers.
What specifically are you accusing Ralph Rogers of?
I think that many people have pointed out to me, since this controversy has arisen, that there is an interrelation between Mr. Ralph Rogers and certain people in political factions in the city. These factions include, of course, the known association with school board factions and certain city council factions.
I.e., Eric Johnson?
Yes, and members of the school board. The question then is, why did Channel 13 single out the county for the one meeting that they held when many such executive sessions have been held by the school board and city officials?
I'm sure that the teachers are interested in maintaining the intent of House Bill 199. That is, every teacher must have a planning period each day. And of course, the board reaffirmed their intent to operate our school system consistent with that piece of legislation.
We're saying that we're happy that they met and that they came up with a decision in their second paragraph that upheld the state law. We're unhappy in that they still say that they can assign us to duties during that period of emergency, which I think you can foresee most of the time.
It's our position that the state may not consider strictly moral questions. It cannot find just a strictly moral justification in enacting criminal legislation. They have to find some justification, some secular justification for criminal legislation.
Well, it's simple mathematics, Art. You take the population figures which were released yesterday by the Census Bureau. They are preliminary, but I've been assured that there will be less than 1% variance in this in the final figure, perhaps, so it really doesn't make a difference. We can go ahead and do it now. But you take the Texas population figure for 1970 right here. We have 31 senators under our state constitution, so you divide that number by 31, it gives you the number of people that should be in each senatorial district, 354,396.
Looking at Tarrant County, how will we be affected?
We have a witness that made a statement that he saw two men drive up in a late model Chevrolet, get out, open the door of the building, come back, open the trunk of the car, remove some cans, and carry them inside. Short time later, there was an explosion and fire, and we found these two bodies. A billfold off of one of the bodies shows the name Billy Joe Weaver as being one of the victims. The other as yet is unidentified. He's a large man, well over 6 feet tall, well built. As near as we could tell, probably in his 30s.
She can have an abortion, and assuming that she has it in Texas, she need no longer suffer any kind of guilt feelings because of engendered by the fact, the supposed fact that she is committing an illegal act. Of course, she may still encounter some difficulty in finding a physician who will perform an abortion, since the physicians would still face the threat of prosecutions under the abortion laws.
Mr. Cooke, as Executive Director of the Teachers Association, what course of action are you going to take now?
Well, Jess, we're going to take whatever action we think is necessary to uphold the position, the status, and the conditions of service of the teachers of Dallas Independent School District. We, as Mr. Hodge said, are not totally satisfied with this decision, and we will do whatever we think is in the best interest of the teachers in Dallas.
What do you think is the best interest of the teachers of Dallas in this case?
Well, we agree that in emergency situations that we all have to help out. What we don't agree with is this decision that a principal can just declare an emergency, and as in the North Dallas situation, the emergency continued for 2 months.